good afternoon, or good morning, depending whenever you watch this. This tutorial is going to take you through what to do with data that we have captured. We're going to continue working with coursework first of all, as that will actually hopefully go for evidence should you need centres test grades on it. I'm going to take you through Microsoft Excel. You have access to Microsoft Excel. It is free for you. If you log in using your c2ken.net username and password for your current C2K, you'll have free access to this at home. Okay, it's a free download. You can use this on an iPad, you can use this on a laptop. It's completely universal. But what I would recommend is that once it's fully complete, that you upload it back up to Google Drive. At least that way, then you can access information from anywhere. Okay, let's talk you through this then. First and foremost, I have already done out a list for you, which will actually meet the needs of Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is massive in the mark scheme. It focuses on 2 or 3 main areas, but first of all, it's actually how we convert the data into some sort of pictorial format in terms of graphs and how we use the software to do that. And then the next part is going to be the analysis and the interpretation of that information. In order to give yourself a fair crack at it, you're going to have to follow through the following steps. Okay. I'm going to send you this list as a task on Firefly, so don't worry too much about it now. But what I've tried to do is to show how advanced you guys are in comparison to other schools. What I've done is I've included the different types of graphs down here on the left-hand side that you should be including throughout. And then I've gone on down to break it down about how many graphs you need for each aim and where the data is relevant. Okay. This is fairly standard, straightforward. If you complete this full list, depending on the quality of your annotation, of course, this should put you high up in the mark bands, okay? And that's exactly where we want to be, all right? So for the first part of this tutorial, what I'm going to do is going to take a very simple one here. We're going to look at aim 3. Aim 3 has got 3 graphs potentially in it, and we're going to focus on the gender one. Now, ultimately, you have to be careful here that each aim is actually relative to the aims that you have noted down in your introduction. So hopefully you have access to that. So make sure if you're writing up aim one throughout is going to be whenever it is you have said it's going to be, not just based on this tutorial. Okay, next list then. What I've tried to do here is I've just populated a very, very quick graph here, or tally sheet, sorry, with all of the information in it. I sent you a blank copy of this the other day, and that's what you've been working on at the minute. So what I had done here was just pick random stats from a random car, your time in seconds, your car color, your car make, your car model, distance in meters, etc. Columns H through to N here are actually the formula part of this, and that's where this software comes handy because it saves you having to work out equation to equation, which is something we discussed before Christmas anyway. Okay, you'll see some ridiculous speeds in here, but that's just based obviously on the time in seconds. But I was trying to give you some ridiculous statements just so you can kind of see how it works. The biggest part of this is obviously the setup. So over here on the right hand side, you will note that I have 6 cells here in total highlighted on screen at present. We have the total number of males and females surveyed. This is an important statistic for us for our survey because we were trying to ascertain whether males were in work or out of work or females in work and out of work, and trying to get a balance for our equation for later on. What I've done here, very, very simply, if I was to recreate it over here, all I'm going to simply type is in males and females surveyed, like so. The next cell down underneath males, let's just stretch this out so it covers that one. The next cell down, I'm going to count as males, and then delete the rest of that. And then the next cell down is going to be females. Okay. Now, how do we know how many males and females have been surveyed? Okay, if we look over here to the left-hand side, all we simply do is look at column B, and we just simply count. So all I'm doing here is 1, 2, 3, 4 males and 3 females. If I go back over to this side, I'm then going to input 4 in the cell beside it, and then 3 in the cell beside that. So that I know that that's one complete table, I'm just going to highlight that and put all borders on that. Your information here always has to be in cells beside because each cell is part of the program. Now, what do you do with that information after this stage? Well, all you simply need to do is highlight the 4 cells of information that we wish to make a chart off of. We then go into insert, and what we're then going to do is we're going to insert a graph. Okay. Now for this one, I'm going to go into pie charts here, and I'm just going to go with a 3D pie, just to try and show you how that comes across. And there's your first graph. If you were to draw this on paper and pencil, this would take you a considerable amount of time with protractors and angles and measuring all out. The computer software does it for you. At this stage, the graph is okay. It's at a C level. What you now need to do is you need to go in and edit this graph to include a chart title. Okay, so the chart title, first of all, for us then is going to be percentage graph. Sorry, why is that not coming in? There we go. Percentage graph to show the amount of males and females surveyed. So the first thing that we're always going to do is we're always going to put a title on that graph, and that's coming up there. So just Control C that in case that disappears. There we go, and that's updated from there. Let's just shrink this down so you can see that a bit more clearly. Okay, so there's our first graph. All right. Now in this graph we would like a couple of things. It says down here males and females and what color is associated with each. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually go into this. I'm going to edit this slightly. We can change the fill color, for example, and we can change the outline. So let's break the graph apart. I'm just going to add in some things here. I would like to add in some data labels. So it's actually giving me a 4 count here for that one, and I'm going to break the other one and put a data label on that also. So you can see there where it says a quantity of 4 and a quantity of 3. Okay, we can bring a legend in and we can move the legend, and we have more options to play around with that. The pie chart itself is actually quite an easy one to do. If I go in here, this is the fill color. I can change the fill color within this. All I'm simply going to do is click on this one. I'm going to go back to my home screen here, change the fill, and oh, it's giving me the whole one. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. Fill color for this one then, and I'm just going to go for an absolute bright blue. I'm not going to be completely sexist on this one, but for the opposite side then, I'm going to go on to a pink one, just so that if you were to print this out in color, you would understand which one we're talking about. Okay, and if I click off that, you'll see even down there the males and females are done. Okay, and we're happy enough just to let that ride at that. So that would be graph 1 fully complete. Okay, let's move on to something a little bit more taxing then. If we go and select our next one, now it's already been done, so we're doing males speeding and males not speeding within a quantity beside each. If I zoom out a little bit and shrink this down, my stats balance up, so you can have a look at it anyway, but if we were to check off male, you will see the male is going at 34 miles per hour, which is 4 miles above our speed limit. The next male is going at 15.98 miles per hour. That's below the speed limit. And then 63.92 in the Mazda RX-8, which is my favorite, as you well know. Okay, so this time I'm going to turn it into a bar chart just so we can show how to put the axes on. Same process again, click and highlight the cell, and then you're just going to insert. And we're looking at different charts. I'm just going to click the drop down arrow here yet again, and this time I'll just go with a very simple 3D column chart. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just bring that down, shift that down so we can work on it without overlapping things. You'll be asked to present this page as evidence at the end that you've created all of these charts, and regardless of the stats that you pull down, all charts will be different. And this one's going to be referred to as a bar chart to show the amount of males speeding compared to not speeding. And again, it's important to get that title in so that you understand what it's for. So there's the first part. And you'll see there that it's given stats down as in half a man and all the rest, but that's just because we're using such small numbers. Yours will be up in the 60s or 70s. The left-hand side here, you will see then once I click the plus arrow, I can add different parts into this. So axes titles, you want axes titles on this to be able to describe. And on this column here, what we're going to do is just type in, this will be the quantity, or the amount rather, of people surveyed. And then across the bottom is just going to be obviously males versus, or speeding versus not speeding. Put males beside that because that's what that's referring to. Okay, and you come up with your other own color coding system here as well. Again, on this one, if we just bring that fill option back across, speeding would mean that those guys are a positive result for our survey. So we're going to turn that one to green, and then not speeding in this circumstance is going to be red because they weren't speeding. So that just gives us a very, very simple number there to play with. You have your axis titles, you have your chart title overall. If you want to go above and beyond that, you can even bring in the data table if you wish, and then we can say where that's going to go, and data labels as well. So that'll make it easier for you to see. Okay, and we click off that from there. Automatically, guys, there's 2 charts done in less than the length of time for this tutorial. You're probably going to have a total of between 18 to 21 graphs, depending on what it is you want to put into it. The original list of graphs here that I have sent to you is not a full list of what you require. Some of you who may want to push on for A star and above and beyond that may want to add in a couple of other graphs that make sense to them, and I'll put another few tutorials together for you. So once you've finished inputting all of your data as per the 12th of January from your task, your next task then is to simply keep the same spreadsheet and then just do as I've done there and add in as many graphs as possible. Okay, there'll be a live Zoom to follow at some stage to try and help you with your interpretations of results and all the rest of it, but just stick to Firefly and I'll keep you right from there. Okay, lads, take it easy, and if you have any comments, just please leave them in the comment section on Firefly. Cheers. So yeah, I came across.